Let's continue our discussion on blockchain network level vulnerabilities and attacks. In this video, we will discuss node attacks. We often hear how different blockchain is, but it's also very similar to applications, a typical application running on the internet. Blockchains run on an infrastructure, which are networks of nodes or computers, again, running on the internet. So the same as any other application, blockchain nodes are vulnerable to local node attacks, or the software running on the local node is also subject to attacks. Attackers may exploit a node's inadequate computing power or processing to take it offline. This is a type of denial of service attack, and yes, blockchains are subject to them, although the whole entire blockchain tends to be less vulnerable. Many times a denial of service attack is executed really for recognition of the attacker, so often they boast about what they've done. The response to this typically is that the node is taken offline and very quickly replaced on the network by a new node. So quite often denial of service are a disruption, but they usually don't result in the compromising of user data, network data, or blockchain data. There are exceptions to that, but typically it's done by, like I stated, for recognition purposes. Blockchain application software can also be vulnerable to attackers. Vulnerabilities in the software application may allow attackers to make unauthorized connections. Software is very complex. There are a lot of lines of code in many applications, including blockchain applications, and there will be vulnerabilities. It's just when you have that level of complexity, it is very difficult to discover all of the vulnerabilities. One type of attack is transaction injection, or sometimes called cryptojacking. And that looks to exploit vulnerabilities in software, resulting in fraud or stealing from crypto wallets. It can also create other disruptions. Like any other node on the internet, blockchain nodes are also vulnerable to malware. Such malware typically exploits weaknesses in mining software, and that can also result in fraud and stealing of cryptocurrency. This type of malware that attacks the mining software is referred to as miner exploits or miner exploitation. It may sound like I'm oversimplifying. However, in the case of node attacks and in the cases we discussed and other cases, the response typically is to use up-to-date network security products such as firewalls that do both network security and are able to manage connections. Also, application vulnerability scanners. Ethical hacking may be another way to go, although quite often the vulnerability scanners are able to detect far more vulnerabilities than any type of manual ethical hacking.